Good morning, everyone. This is Dan O'Sullivan with your Merry Christmas edition of the Bucks Island Area Fishing Report. It's Saturday, December the 23rd, a couple days away from the Fat Man coming through the chimney. But right now, we're going to bring you some presents with the guys that are going to spend some time and tell us how to put a few more fish in the boat. We'll be right back with what Lee, Tom, Josh, and Gentry have to say. Merry Christmas, everyone. This is Dan O'Sullivan with your Bucks Island Area Fishing Report for Saturday, December the 23rd. Lee, what's going on up there? Lee Pitt's going to join us. Let's talk Weiss Lake.
Well, I'll tell you what, we're still celebrating the crappie up there right now, so that's a good thing. Crappie fishing's been pretty good this last week. Still it's day by day. You'll catch some really good fish in big numbers one day, then the numbers may not be as good the next, but it's the fish are there. We're using our hummingbirds. You can see them, so that kind of adds a little bit more excitement to it when you can sit there and look at them on the screen. It's whether they want to eat or not.
Is it a live bait thing, vertical still, or are you able to start using some of them garland jigs that we talk about all the time?
Well, I'm still using some of my Bobby Garland products, but it's one of those things that it is a vertical deal. They're not really wanting to chase right now. I've tried to long line through them, and they just want something that they can sit there and look at and put it in front of their face. A lot of guys are using live bait, but hey, and it's me. I'm cheap, man. Those minnows are real expensive, so I love my Bobby Garland products. It saves me a lot of money with them. So that's what I'm catching them on right now.
Put a little of that smell good on them jigs and drop it down and make them sniff. What's going on with the
Oh yeah.
bass bite on Weiss?
It's slowed down a little bit. We're still catching some pretty good quality fish right now. A lot of guys, that don't want to go out there and try to chase those largemouth and get 6, 7 bites a day. They're out there on these spots. And I talked to some guys when I was crappie fishing this week, and they've been taking little jigging spoons and getting out there in some of the deeper creeks and on some of these hard bottoms and just kind of hopping that little, just a some kind of jig or something around there, a little old spoon, and catching some spots. Got some stripe mixed in with them and some white bass.
Sounds like fun. I used to love doing that in Northern California. What about Neely Henry? What are you hearing out of Neely Henry right now?
Neely right now, the crappie are still, if you want to go out there and put some fish in your freezer, the crappie are biting pretty good at Neely. Is still a vertical deal there also. Looking for that wood cover, getting on that river channel, finding the drops and the breaks, and finding some kind of structure that they can kind of hold on. Bass bite has slowed down a little bit. It's still kind of a spinnerbait, chatterbait type deal. Some guys, they've got a little finesse jig and been throwing that around on some of these things and catching some spots. But right now, hey, it's I'm all for it too, man. The crappie's what's taking the show here on Weiss and Neely.
Love hearing that for you. Don't forget you can look for Lee on Lee Pitts Outdoors on social media. He's our local guide. Spend some time with him. You'll fill your freezer. Lee, man, Merry Christmas to you and Laura. Thanks for everything. We'll talk to you again next week, brother.
Man, Merry Christmas to y'all. And hey, everybody that listens to us from Pitts Outdoors, have a very Merry Christmas. We appreciate it.
Good morning, everyone. This is Dan O'Sullivan with your Christmas edition of the Bucks Island Area Fishing Report. We are joined by Josh Herron, our local elf from down around Logan Martin and Lay Lake. Josh, what's happening down there?
Man, it's starting to get a little cold, a little chilly.
It is.
And it is feeling like Christmas finally. Stuff's slowing down a little bit. Fish are really starting to bunch up. And they're really keying up on bait still. So, I mean, right now, it's kind of the same song and dance, though. We still ain't got no rain. Everything is really clear for the Coosa standards. You do a lot of vertical fishing right now, whether it be with like a little Hopkins spoon or stuff like that, and you can go catch some fish, but nothing's really outshining anything else. The main thing is just being able to look at them right now. It seems like it makes you a whole lot more efficient at the task.
What area of the lake are you? I mean, what are you looking in mouths still? Bottoms of ditches? What are you seeing? What are you finding out there?
Dude, you can find these fish from the middle of the river channel. When I say the middle of the river channel, I mean the middle of the river channel, all the way to halfway back in East Creek. There is very little rhyme or reason to why these fish are where they are right now, outside of bait, and that's the biggest thing I'm looking for right now. Is I'm spending as much time looking for bait as I am for fish.
If there's no bait, they're not going to be. I mean, if there's no current, they're not going to get positioned anywhere. So I can imagine they're kind of spread out just about everywhere.
Yeah, they are, and they are everywhere right now. I mean, we were fishing in a cut on the bottom end of Logan the other day, and we were going down the bank doing like what we normally do this time of year, throwing a little flat-sided bait, throwing a chatterbait, this, that, and the other. And it wasn't a lot to write home about. And you sit there and you kind of turn around and look out in the middle of these cuts, and you're like, I'm trying to figure out like where they are, where they're going, what they're doing, and everything else. And you just take like live or whatever, and you shine it out in the middle of a cut that's 22 foot deep, and it's solid bait from 15 feet to the bottom, and you can see 15, 20 fish like literally raking bait, like parting them, spreading them out. And a lot of those are hybrids. Some of them are striped. And then you get spots that kind of mix in with them this time of year. In the wintertime, that like the spots and the hybrids are really kind of mixing in together too.
Yeah.
So it makes it a little bit of a pain looking for them. Yeah, man, it's just kind of a wander look and use your electronics. Crappie are more shallow than bass ever thought of right now.
Really?
Yeah, dude, there's crappie on a ton of these deeper river docks right now, especially on Logan. Hey, you can look underneath them, and it looks like just a biomass of crappie underneath some of these docks. And you can tell the crappie guys are really starting to play that game too, because you got a bunch of guys wandering around on them.
Josh, brother, we appreciate everything. Merry Christmas to you, Aaron, and Miss Emerson, and we'll talk to you soon. Good morning, everyone. This is Dan O'Sullivan with your Bucks Island Area Fishing Report for Saturday, December 23rd. It's our Christmas edition this year, and we're joined by one of our favorite elves, one that could actually fit down the chimney, Gentry Gordy. Gentry, let's talk a little Jordan Lake and Lake Martin. Let's start at Jordan Lake. What's happening there?
I didn't get a chance to get up to Jordan this week, Dano, but I did fish a tournament on Mitchell. So, we can kind of go off of that. It's a lot like it, one lake up. But, like you've heard the guys say, the water's clear. I tried to beat the banks because that's what I like to do, and I got my butt whipped this weekend. It was actually Connell. And a lot of the guys that ran up the river and was doing the offshore, man, they blistered me pretty bad. But, I saw a lot of those guys. They were definitely, I was sitting on one point in the afternoon and I was in 20 foot, and one of the guys pull up behind me 100 yards back. I know he was sitting in 40 foot and, just looking straight down, not even cast until he saw what he wanted. And I talked to another guy and he said, man, he limited out in 8 minutes on an Alabama rig. I said, dude, it took me all day to get a limit going down the bank. So I was stubborn. I tried to do, what I was doing would work if the water was dirty, square bills, chatterbaits. Everything I caught was basically flipping a baby D-bomb around the edge of the grass, and actually caught one on a popping frog in the grass. And it was my better fish, so it kind of spoiled me all day. I tried to run that pattern, had some good blow-ups. They just wasn't touching it. But it's definitely, where that water is clear, it's definitely an offshore dropping down with a spoon or a Demiki rig.
See, that's how I used to fish at home. I felt right at home with that stuff. All right, let's turn our attention to Lake Martin. Tell me what's going on there.
Martin's a different animal. It's not on that Coosa. Some better fish was coming on the bluff walls, just dragging the jig down it. The water temperature was 50, 51 the other morning. So, maybe they're hunting out that heat that them dark rocks hold.
Yep.
It's not necessarily a vertical bluff, but the steeper rock walls were holding fish all day. But still, you can catch them. The bait fish just seem harder to find every year on Martin. But if you can find them, you can catch them doing the same thing, the Demiki rigs, the jerk baits and stuff. But your trash piles and your walls seem to be producing your better bites.
Gentry, as always, brother, man, we appreciate everything. Merry Christmas to you and the family. Tell your dad we said hello, and we will talk to you again next week, brother.
Absolutely. Merry Christmas, guys.
Merry Christmas, everyone. This is Dan O'Sullivan with your Bucks Island Area Fishing Report for Saturday, December 23rd. A couple days till the fat man comes down the chimney. This fat man's going to join Tom Ott, talk about fishing on Guntersville right now. What kind of presents can we find wrapped up in the waters up there, Tom?
Well, I'm stuck on chimneys right now, but there's plenty of things going on Guntersville. I mean, we've got, the crappie bites going strong, as you guys can tell. The bass bite is just not let up yet. We kind of always expect a little wintertime lull. I mean, you have the dog days of summer and then I don't know what you'd call the wintertime, but, it's not very fun. But the fishing has just been phenomenal. I've never seen boat ramps as busy as they are right now. The bass are just unbelievable. We just haven't hit that real cold temperature, so we still got real mild water. We're low 50s, low mid 50s, somewhere in there. The fish are still just following bait all over the place. We've been targeting the crappie. It's time, as you can tell, we're getting, those days are going to start getting longer. So it's almost that time. Tournament fishing will be here in a couple of months, so I'm just trying to fill up the freezer. We'll be right back at it. But I'm telling you, the A-rig bite's hot. The jerkbait bite is hot. You could catch some crappie on a jerkbait, guys. I mean, it is really unbelievable. They're just following giant pods of bait all over the place. And like we said a couple of weeks ago, those creek channels that kind of move up to a big, steeper bank, those are the places you're going to find your bait. Those are the places you'll find your birds. We had an interesting thing happen last week. We were fishing. We were catching a lot of fish early. We had a couple of loons move in, and they just pushed all the bait away, and we weren't catching any fish. The loons left. We were able to get that bait coming back in. We caught a few more fish. But, it's just the place is unbelievable. I mean, so much action happening right now. I think even the brim, you can catch a few brim crappie fishing. So it's really hot right now. Santa's going to be proud.
You mean to tell me that conditions changed and the fishing changed with it? Is that what you're saying? That doesn't happen in fishing.
It's unbelievable, isn't it? Well, I tell you, our secret the last couple of weeks has been getting out right before the storm comes in. And it's just been, wow. The fish have really gone stupid. And, that's kind of the, if you're going to weekend fish or you're going on vacation, Bobby Barrick talked about it. You want to look at those moon phases. You want to look at the storms moving through. After a storm, probably not the best time to be out there. It gets a little tough, but you can still catch a few fish.
Well, Tom, as always, brother, we appreciate it. Merry Christmas to you and St. Jennifer. We appreciate everything you guys do, sharing your information with us. Much love, and we'll talk to you soon.
Merry Christmas, guys. Everybody be safe out there. Enjoy the holidays, and go catch you some fish for Christmas.
Well, that'll do it for our Christmas edition of the Bucks Island Area Fishing Report. Thanks for spending the time with us. We hope you guys have a wonderful weekend. Enjoy the family and everything that Christmas has to offer. God bless you from all of us here at Bucks Island.